Hello, thank you so much for joining me on the Voice of Faith program sponsored by CNB TV. So today our guest is Reverend Chezrone, who happens to be the author of the trending book, The Silent Divide in Marriage.
Now, in our last interview,
he gave an introduction to the book. So today we want to go deeper and listen to the insights of the book. We'll take a short break, and on the other side is Reverend Chezrone explaining and giving more insights of the book.
Thank you very much. I am so privileged and humbled once again to be interviewed by your station, and I don't take it so lightly. To answer your question, thank you so much. One of the biggest mistakes couples make is ignoring the small shifts. Couples do ignore small shifts. Now, the silent divide doesn't start with big fights. It doesn't start with big fights. No, the silent divide, it starts with small disconnections that couples will start going through. Normally, it is ignoring these small facts. You will notice things like reduced communication. A couple will begin reducing on their communication. This couple was communicating so much, but because of the silent divide, you see that there is a reduced communication. The other thing is loss of excitement in conversation. The other thing that you will notice is emotional withdrawal. There's one thing that you cannot fake. It's emotions. Emotions can never be faked. So when there's emotional withdrawal, definitely you will know that there's something that is happening here. Now, how do you know that there's emotional withdrawal? Normally, a couple begin to prefer their phones. Somebody comes from work, they have been away from work, but still they go to bed. This other person looks the other side. The other person looks the other side. They're still communicating, and they're preferring to check what is happening on their social medias and the like. So from there, you can tell that here there is a silent divide that is happening. So there are small shifts that may not be noticed that will be taking place, and from there you know that the silent divide has started happening in this marriage. Thank you so much. To answer your question, many couples have mastered the art. This is an art of presentation. They want to present to the world that, wow, but they have ignored deep conversation that needs to take place. So publicly, they want to appear that things are happening. Publicly, they want to hold hands. Publicly, they want to give the public a perspective. But in the real sense, this couple is disconnected emotionally. There are quite a number of causes I can attribute to. The first one is communication, poor communication or lack of it. Now here, I'm not just talking about talking. You see, when people say communication, there's this notion that we are talking. You can be talking with your spouse, but you are not communicating. So poor communication or lack of it causes the silent divide in a marriage. Communication is not just talking, but I'm talking about understanding each other emotionally, where you begin to understand each other emotionally. This is what I'm talking about here. The thing that I'll talk about is you neglect your spouse. Your spouse feels neglected. You are so busy. You are busy at work. You are busy in your business. You are busy for preachers. You are busy moving from one country to another. In other words, you are a hero at your workplace, but your spouse feels neglected. There, you can be assured that the silent divide has started happening. The other thing is when one partner feels dominated over, controlled. When somebody feels controlled or dominated over, they switch into the mode where they are silent, where they don't want, when they voice out, they fear that they may be misunderstood. In such a case, this mechanism of not talking or being silent is a mechanism that they want to protect themselves from being misjudged, being misunderstood, and at a later stage, the silent divide becomes the norm in this marriage. Thank you so much. When control and fear enters a marriage, I can assure you one thing. Control will enter into one exit. Love will exit into another door. So these two cannot be in the same place, where there is control, where there is manipulation. So control itself, it creates an environment where the partner feels monitored, judged. There's this environment where the spouse feels so much judged. They cannot voice out. They cannot say anything that I don't want to say this because my spouse will be so much offended. So they feel judged. So that is what I'm trying to put across. This is my main emphasis in this book, reconnection. To answer your question, we must look at the beginning. Let's look at the beginning. Reconnection must be intentional. If you see that you are drifting away from your spouse, you need to make it as an intentional move to be able to start doing what? To reconnect. Firstly, we must create time for meaningful conversation. Meaningful conversation. You know, there are certain times where a spouse cannot say anything in fear of being judged. A spouse cannot say anything in fear of being rebuked. So, how do we bring the solution? One of the solutions is to create an environment where conversation become meaningful, not just logistics. You see, logistics where what have you eaten? What have you cooked? These are logistical conversations, but I mean meaningful, heart-to-heart conversation. The second thing is to listen without defending, where one wants to listen. You see, there is a listening where you want to listen to answer back. But I'm not talking about this listening, but I'm talking about this listening where you just want to listen so that what you are hearing from your partner, you want to be able to do what? To implement. And the other thing that I'll talk about is when we see that we are not, the gap is becoming bigger, the crack is becoming bigger, let's try to seek help. Number one, let's pray about our marriages. If we are afraid that nothing is happening, let's seek counselors where we can be counseled. Sometimes it just takes one word from a counselor through the word of the Lord, and this marriage is restored. So it is small things that can be able to do what? To restore a marriage. Thank you. I'll speak like a pastor that I am. I'm a pastor, and I love to answer this question. God designed marriage to be a place of unity. God designed marriage to be a place of love and partnership. Marriage itself was never meant to be power struggle, my brother. It was never meant to be power struggle. It was never meant to be a competition. It was never meant to be a place where there is war, where a place of strife. No. So, but we have drifted because we have replaced God. The drifting comes in because people have replaced God out of their marriage. Some people will tell you, no, you look at in nowadays, even the foundation itself, when people are marrying, there's beer, people are drinking, there's some wicked traditions that are happening. Already the foundation that you are building on this marriage is compromised. So I'm calling everyone to rededicate their marriage, rededicate the foundation of your marriage back to the living God. Just to add on, my brother, when God is removed from the center of a marriage, this marriage, it's a matter of time. It doesn't matter how much money is there. It doesn't matter how many children are there. It's a matter of time. This marriage will definitely one day disintegrate. I already alluded to the power of prayer. Now, prayer reconnects what pride disconnects. One of the things that I have covered in my book, The Silent Divide in Marriage, is pride. Pride brings the silent in marriage. How does pride bring the silent divide in a marriage? You know you are wrong. You know you are very wrong in this aspect. Instead of you saying, you know what, my spouse, I'm very sorry for this thing, but pride will take charge. So what does prayer do? Prayer reconnects what pride destroys. Now, when couples pray together, they invite God back in their marriage. When couples pray together, whatever disconnects them melts down. The bond of the marriage becomes God Himself. Oh, the owner of marriage is God. I always give an example. If you have a car that is Benz, you don't take this car when it malfunctions, you don't take it to another dealer, you take it to Benz. I've got a Toyota. Whenever I've got a problem, I don't go and look for spare parts for my car for Benz. No, I look for spare parts for what car? For Toyota. So normally people make mistakes to begin looking for answers in wrong places. You've heard, my brother, where people say, lucky charms, no, bring back your spouse, and their charms, and those things don't work. Prayer will bring your husband back. Prayer will reconnect you back to your spouse without any trouble. But we need to earnestly pray together as a couple. So I just wanted to emphasize on the importance of prayer. Without mentioning names, I'm a counselor. I'm a marriage counselor. I'm not only an author. I'm a marriage counselor. So I deal with a lot of these issues. So there was this couple. Both couples were working. So when they come, this one is tired. When they come after bathing, they eat together. This one goes to on the bed, and the other one goes on the bed. They begin to have their phones. So for months, this thing was going on. They reached a point where the only conversation that they could have between the two of them was electricity has finished, or there is no food in the house. That's the only conversation that was happening in that house. In the long run, the husband started having an affair with some colleague at work. So, what am I trying to say here is this: when people allow this silent divide to come into a marriage, they will find other sources out there that will be able to fill in, because a human being is not supposed to be an island. So they'll find other things to fill in the gap. So in the example that I've given, so I was invited in. I sat down with them, and the wife was complaining, my husband is cheating, my husband that, my husband this. So I sat down with them to say, before we can talk about the fruits of cheating, what is the cause of this cheating? So when we went down, we just discovered that this couple, there was no communication between the couple. So we brought in the aspect of the silent divide. We applied this book, The Silent Divide in Marriage, and right now they are enjoying their marriage like never before. No, love alone is not enough to sustain a marriage. Love must be supported by communication. Love alone, love cannot stand alone on its own. Love needs to be supported by communication. It needs to be supported by commitment, understanding, and growth. So many people feel they feel love, but they don't know how to express and sustain it. What am I trying to say? I want to emphasize this one. Many people, they can love. Okay, now love is not a short period. This is why when you are married, my brother, they will say, until death do us what? Do us part. So it's not love, you love somebody for a period of time, then you say, no, I'm tired, and they're like, no. So love alone cannot sustain a marriage, but love needs to be supported with these other things like communication, like a heart-to-heart emotional attachment, like understanding each other, putting my pride, my ego down, and allowing my wife or my spouse to give her the first priority that she deserves. Marriage is a responsibility. That's why I always tell people before they get married, marriage is not for young ones, not for kids. Now, if I say kids, there are people that are old, but they still want to behave like children or like kids. So marriage is not meant for kids. Marriage is a big responsibility that we need to carry with us. I think, according to my own analysis, men and women, they experience the silent divide in differently. When there's so much pressure, I think I see it even in me. I'm speaking like a man. I think even in me, when I experience so much pressure, there's one thing that I do. I withdraw. So I do what? I withdraw. So when there's so much pressure, men tend to withdraw. Unlike women, when women have got pressure, you know what? They begin to talk. They talk with their friends. They express it so much with friends all over. They've got friends. They call their friends. They WhatsApp their friends. They communicate. But men do what? They tend to withdraw. What makes my book unique? So it can be a foundation to prepare somebody that wants to get married. Not only youths, it can also be a copy to repair and bridge the gap, the silent divide in a marriage that is experiencing the silent divide. Not only that, it can be a resource that can help a marriage that is already doing fine to do much better. It also can be used as a resource for marriage counselors. In simplicity, not only that, I think it is a very small volume that anybody, even those that are too busy, can take time to just read and be blessed with the book. My final words to our viewers is that marriage doesn't just break in one day. No. Marriage doesn't just fall like a tree that has got no roots to support it. Marriage doesn't just disintegrate in a day, that this marriage is broken from nowhere. Marriage begins to break apart when these things that I've been talking, lack of communication, neglect, fear, intimidation, and many other things that are in my book that are mentioned in the book when they are neglected. So, but the good news is that healing also begins with intentional conversation. So to my readers, when you read this book, you will see that your marriage that might be experiencing difficulties, the good news is it can be repaired. There is hope for every marriage. Every marriage can be healed. Every marriage can be better. Every marriage can be a good example to other marriages, as long as this marriage is rooted in Christ, and Christ is the center of this marriage.